under the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Oh. No more. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Just black and white.
Hello everybody and welcome along to Simracersworld TV and welcome to round 10 of the Simracersworld GT Evo series, and you join us here at Circuit de Spa Francorchamps, and Going off yesterday, Peter, and what was a minimised grid for GT Pro, GT Evo have really turned up today, and I'm looking forward to a great evening of racing.
Me too, Jack. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you once again for the GT Evo series, and well, we're here at the mecca of motorsport for many. You know, for many drivers, this is as good as it gets here at Spa Francorchamps in Belgium, and really, this is it's kind of Paradise Island here down in Spa, Jack, because you have obviously this amazing racetrack, you have fantastic fried food and excellent beer as well, and also quite good nightlife in the local village of Spa as well.
I've got to say, I haven't had the opportunity of getting to Spa. I was hoping to get there either last year or this year, but obviously with the events that have taken place this year, I haven't been so lucky. Maybe next year, maybe something's on the cards, but we never know. But tonight, the championship is well and truly up for grabs. Let's have a quick look through, Peter, and I'll leave it to you.
Well, it's a inner war, a civil war between Ben Danes and Rob Tyson for G-Drive Eximia. Just 20 points separating them at the top of the championship table. So will we see some inter-team rivalry tonight? I think we possibly will. Anton de Pan is not far behind there. We call him Steady Eddie for a reason. Just plodded his way through the season. He's on 435. Ronald Moons for Racemasters Esports in his Porsche, the leading Porsche, on 419 points. Vincenzo Amico, well, he has won every single race he has entered in this championship at the wheel of his Ronin Simsport BMW. Bram van Ouytven is in 6th. Matthias Sufi is 7th, followed by Kim Bahait, Camille Yagazoglu, Hendrik de Greve, Billy Fletcher, Sam Baxter, John McConville, Sven Calbert, Marius Janke, Dominic Forster, Martin Deckens, and Giuseppe Nazzo. So we have a pretty full grid this evening as well, don't we, Jack? We've got nearly 20 cars, which will be more than busy enough here at Spa Francorchamps.
Yeah, well and truly, lots of points up for grabs. We will get some live pictures for you, and yeah, definitely well and truly a key round for everybody. More importantly for that man there, Vincenzo Amico and the Ronin Simsport Academy BMW. Like you say, he's won every single race he's entered, but tonight he's not at the top, Peter. He's not at the top of the pile. Bronze driver Sam Baxter for Fury Simsport in qualifying as we stand at the moment, 3/10 quicker, and that is just something new that we haven't really seen. We knew almost going into the latter part of the season that the Porsche would be slightly stronger, but with the recent updates and the various little changes that have taken place to the BMW, I think it might be slightly down on top speed now. The Porsche is well and truly there or thereabouts. We had a Porsche win yesterday for Strasser Porsche Sport. Porsche Sport, obviously the title sponsor of this series. That was Ryan Parkins taking the overall win and the Gold Championship. And tonight, Sam Baxter is trying to do something of the same. Porsche at the top of the timesheets, 1/10 quicker than 4-time winner Vincenzo Amico.
Yeah, that's quite a turn up for the books. I mean, Vincenzo Amico, he has been in his own division, really, out in this championship. But Sam Baxter has done an excellent job to put that Porsche on pole position for this race. And we know here at Spa, getting into the last source first is very important indeed. As Vincenzo comes across the line, does he improve? No, he stays exactly where he is. So yeah, it is that pole position is vitally important. And the BMW, I mean, we've talked about it at length, haven't we, Jack, over the course of the championship. And I've commentated on a number of series using the GTE class of car. And really, the BMW has had quite an advantage for quite some time, particularly on straight line speed. So,
yeah, I think the BMW is definitely one to be reckoned with. You can see a line of 3 here, all with orange and black liveries. But yeah, the BMW has gone from strength to strength really, and now it's been set up with the Porsche. Definitely got a match for performance there. The Ford and the Ferrari, you can see a classic rivalry taking place partway down the order. Sven Calbert, Hendrik de Greve and Kim Bahait. Ferrari leading 2 Fords. None of those out on circuit at the moment. Do we have a Ford to look at? I don't think so. Very quiet few stages of the qualifying session into the final few seconds now, and Vincenzo Amico, his final lap or the previous lap, I think might have been an out lap, Peter, as we do get the checkered flag out now. So this is the final chance for him to get that car, not just from its front row spot at the moment, but to the very front of the field, of course. Sam Baxter clearly happy with his time. Vincenzo Amico setting a purple sector 2, 5 sectors here at Spa, and oh, maybe not. It's clearly not for him. He's decided that he's not going to find the pace. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Simracersworld TV, and welcome back to round 10 of the Simracersworld GT Evo series. Sorry about that, please do extend my, please do accept my sincere apologies. It's just some sort of issue on my end. We've got a temporary fix in for the moment, should work for the rest of the stream. Peter, are you with us?
I am indeed, Jack. Yes, I'm glad it's not Scotland Telecom letting us down for once. But yeah, I'm ready to go, and Sam Baxter is doing a great job holding off Vincenzo Amico in second spot, with the two G-Drive Eximia drivers not far behind in the order of Rob Tyson and Ben Thanes. Good start to this race here at Spa.
Yeah, it really is. If we now ride on board with Vincenzo Amico over Radion, might be running slightly wide there. I think you're still safe for a 1X. Even using a bit of curb on the right-hand side of Camel, now on the Camel straight, tucked underneath the draft, and we saw this yesterday. The BMW, even in the draft of the Porsche, just can't quite keep up, doesn't have the legs on the straights. Now into Lecom, using all the curb on the right, all the curb on the left. Vincenzo Amico kicks the car around beautifully, gaining a hell of a lot mid-corner, and then sort of corner exit and heading onto the heading out to the twisty bits. The Porsche just seems to pull away. It's like it's got some sort of superior traction, maybe a bit more acceleration. And on the way in the corner, it looks like Sam Baxter is a bit quicker. Vincenzo Amico closes up once again, and I think that could be a bit of driving style, slow in, fast out. But it seems like the BMW is just that much quicker. Oh, the Porsche, sorry.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I mean, the Porsche driving style, even in this slightly more modern iteration with the car moved more to the middle of the car than the rear, but it's still more rear biased than a normal mid-engine car, and that's always been the kind of very much the Porsche driving style, slow in, fast out. However, the BMW secret weapon has been sort of kind of dulled down slightly. It was always a total dragster. However, the reason why it was so competitive was because it had the straight line speed and the stability through the corners. Now, it's not lost any of that. It's just the straight line speed that's really taken it away. But still look out for the BMW in the fast corners and the medium speed stuff. It's a really stable package. So, and also don't forget the man behind the wheel of that 78 car, Vincenzo Amico. He is an absolute gun behind that car. So Sam Baxter is going to be worked really hard for this, and if he even makes a slight mistake, Vincenzo Amico will be on him.
Absolutely, but you've got to think they're battling each other so hard. They're slowing each other down, and we saw Rob Tyson and Ben Thanes closing up. They're now there, so the lead G-Drive car of Rob Tyson definitely looking to get up a bit higher, possibly past Vincenzo Amico. Although we did see yesterday, saving fuel is definitely the way to go. I'm trying to cast my mind back to who it was that managed to save a hell of a lot of fuel and really made it work. Rob Tyson, I think, might be doing a similar sort of strategy. And you can see Ben Thanes in hot pursuit, sliding his way over Radion, championship leader, of course. So he's just playing the car safe at the moment, maybe not going for the risks he has done throughout this season. We do have a couple of close battles in the background. Bradley Brocky's losing out to Giuseppe Nazzo, heading through the hairpin of La Source. Bradley Brocky's now chasing down Giuseppe, heading towards Eau Rouge. You don't want to go too wide through there, boys. Brave stuff from both drivers. Very careful. A bit of a slide from Bradley Brocky's, a bigger slide. There's contact between the pair of them, hard into the tyre wall. What happened there, Peter?
There was an air of inevitability there, wasn't there? But Bradley had the move done. He had it done, and he just decided to sort of come across the nose of Giuseppe Nazzo there. So let's give it a look. Right, okay, here we go. They're going through Eau Rouge, and side by side here doesn't often work. And yes, he just gets a little bit squirrely, slides across. Nazzo doesn't come out of it, but nor did he really have to. And Bradley Brocky's ever so nearly pulled off the move of the season there, but the key word there is nearly. I do remember now, who was it? I think it was Kimi Räikkönen who pulled that off on Mark Webber in 2009, and just absolutely flat out around there, and you're thinking, whoa, that's a big move.
Yeah, it really is brave stuff, definitely. I think maybe 2 years ago in 2018, British GT, they managed to go 3 wide up Eau Rouge, and then by the time they got to Radion, they were only 2 wide. But to even think, I struggled to get through there by myself, let alone alongside another car, and let alone 3 wide. Look at that, Taylor Lane, massive lunge on the brakes, nearly gets Matteo Sufi in the Simracersworld Ferrari, but somehow he managed to get it slowed down and just about keep it under control. Staying behind for the moment though, chasing down Marius Janka is the pair of them, and then up in front is 5 Belgian drivers: Bram van Uytsven, Ronald Moon, Sven Kalbert, Anton Dupont, Steady Eddie himself, currently in 5th position, chasing down the 3 BMWs and Porsche up the road, pardon me. There is Ben Thanes, and look who Anton Dupont is bringing with him. Sven Kalbert now only 9/10 back within a second. I think the leaders are closer than they've ever been. Look at that, Vincenzo Amico having a look at the inside of Sam Baxter. Sam can carry the superior momentum around the outside. Now the 4-car battle has turned into a 3-car battle, and they're closer than ever. And somehow they didn't make contact there, Peter.
Yeah, and they've dropped Ben Thanes in a big way. Look, he's way out the back of this battle, so he's maybe made a mistake somewhere. And Vincenzo Amico is maybe just noticed Rob Tyson coming up behind him, thinking, I need to get a move on here, otherwise I'm going to get stuck in this battle for the whole race. So Sam Baxter, what can you say? The number 97, running the number of this year's Bathurst 1000 winners, Shane van Gisbergen, the number 97, and they go into the Fania chicane, or Piff Paff, as some people call it. It's the Fania chicane. And he's doing a grand job indeed. And to have the standout driver of the last few races, Vincenzo Amico, all over his gearbox, he's doing a very, very good job for Fury Sim Sport.
He is indeed. I'm not 100% sure what happened to Ben Thanes, because he has dropped very far back, almost into the clutches of Anton Dupont. He went off the road for about 2 seconds, but I think this might just be a slight off track on the exit of no, it's not. That's a very sideways moment on the way in. I think he used a bit too much curb. Let's have another look back in slow mo just to see how that unraveled for him. Keep an eye on the curb on the left hand side. I think he puts his right rear wheel over the edge. Yep, and while he's turning in, that just unsettles the car. and almost round he goes, locks everything up. That won't have done good for his tyres at all, with it being an endurance race, or almost a lengthened sprint race. He does get back going again and is in dire need of a fresh set of boots, I think, after a moment like that. But we are only 15 minutes into the 90-minute race on lap 8, and Ben Thanes, he's got all that work to do, and obviously he's lost touch with his teammates. 3 seconds up the road now as his teammates, so he won't be getting the draft assistance either, so it's going to be much, much harder for himself to get back up with this lead trio. And see there, it looks like they're battling so hard, but they're going to almost be pushing each other around, because the front car's punching the hole in the air for everybody else, but then the car behind them hasn't got to work as hard, can save a bit of fuel. And what happened? Oh, Vincenzo Amico, I don't know whether he just didn't show up on my screen there, but it looked like he'd completely disappeared. But they're almost pushing each other around. The lead car is pulling everybody around, and all the cars behind are pushing each other about, so they almost start extending their lead margin.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Sam Baxter's the one who's having to do all the heavy lifting here, and that may well bite him later on in the race. But when if you can lead the race, it takes a brave man to kind of give it away for the purposes of fuel saving or tire saving. So he's doing a good job. However, Vincenzo Amico just keeping his powder dry, just saving a bit of fuel, saving a bit of tyres. That's going to give him a small advantage in the first round of pit stops. But remember, we've got 2 rounds of pit stops, so that can sort of play out over the course of the race. But Sam Baxter doing what he needs to do, albeit doing a little bit of heavy lifting for the 2 BMWs behind. But you mentioned it earlier, Jack, the off-corner traction. So typically Porsche, that Porsche's got some great acceleration and some great out-of-corner grip. And that is, you can actually, it's pretty, how would you say, it's very, very clear that Porsche has got a really good advantage out of the corners.
Yeah, definitely coming through the bus stop onto another straight. So it's almost like the Porsche is quick in all the parts it has to be. Going on towards the start-finish line, you can see he's quicker coming out of there, so he can defend his position into La Source, and then out of La Source, gets the better traction once again. But obviously the draft assistance will go the way of Vincenzo Amico. A battle I was keeping my eye on just a few moments ago was Cammy Sturch, and I think it was Stephen de Wolf at the time. But now I think the pair of them are catching up to the tail end of Anthony Larson for Ronin Sim Sport Academy. So that little battle forming once again, and it's nice to see a great variety of cars once again. Obviously the field is almost dominated by BMWs, but there's a lot of Fords in the mix, a lot of Porsches, sadly not many Ferraris, but pretty much every battle you look at, there is a different manufacturer within that battle. So here you can see a Ferrari, or pardon me, a Ford chasing down a BMW while also trying to defend from a BMW. We'll go up to another battle. We've got Matteo Sufi defending from Marius Janka in a BMW, so Ferrari versus BMW, and then up at the front you've got Porsche versus BMW. So it's nice to see that the manufacturers are almost leveled out a little bit.
Indeed, yes. We've seen kind of BMW domination really for most of this season also. Stephen de Wolf's off in the Dynamics Racing BMW, the 76 car, coming in to Lacombe. Oh, it just loses it in on the brakes there. Quite a common mistake there on the brakes. You're braking from very high speed at the end of the Kemmel Straight. He turns it around. Well, it looked like he's more or less stayed out the barrier, so not too much harm done there, just a bit of lost time, but no damage to carry. Sam Baxter still leading in 20 minutes into this race under big pressure from 2 really, really big names in this series, Vincenzo Amico and Rob Tyson, but he's not blinking up to now. But it's nice to see a little bit of a variety at the front of the championship in terms of the manufacturers, and great to see this wonderful wailing Porsche 911 RSR back at the front. And of course won last night in the GT Pro Series in the hands of the Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing champion, the King Hippo himself, Ryan Parkins.
Yeah, it was a good drive from himself last night. I think he put something on his Instagram story, led every lap, had the fastest lap, won the race, won the Gold Championship. So he couldn't really have done much else last night. It was a very, very good race, a very, very good performance all round from himself. Looking at the Porsches though, I think Yeah, it's definitely my timing screen clearly not playing ball with the issues we've had earlier. I was looking at it and it says Vincenzo Amico, well, according to my timing, has gained 16 positions, but that can't be right. I think they are, for the most part, in the same order as they started, which is something we didn't really get to look at. And while we've got a bit of breathing space in between this battle as it starts to open up, we will almost run you through the belated grid if it lets me. No, because I wasn't in the session for the grid to register. Sadly, we won't be able to look at the order in which they started, so sorry about that, but we do have a race still going on now. 20 minutes into this 90-minute race. Closest cars on circuit, I think, are the leaders. I tell a lie, Giuseppe Nazzo and Sandro Ballesteros. Giuseppe Nazzo and Dynamics Racing recovering Stephen de Wolf are glued together. This is Giuseppe trying to mount a challenge, and he really closed up on the straight, so it seems like the BMW, when it's in the draft of the Porsche, isn't really that strong, but the Porsche, when it's in the draft of the BMW, is just an absolute rocket ship.
Yeah, it appears that it's been a good good little adjustment in the last patch update for Porsche. It's yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that iRacing do. They have the opportunity to do it once a week. Often the big updates kind of come once every season, which is every 12 weeks. But certainly the last little adjustment to the service has been very much in the favour of Porsche, but they've been very much unfavoured in the last little while, so they'll come back and forward. Thijs van den Berg having nearly caught it, and just nearly crashes into the pit wall there at La Source, but gets through cleanly.
Yeah, I think it was just another one of those incidents, changing down maybe a little too early, and the gears just bite, and it locks up the rear wheels because they can't keep up with the revs required, and it just rotates the rear end of the car. Sam Baxter still in the lead, being chased down by Vincenzo Amico now. Sorry if there's any background noise. It is, if you're not aware, firework night here in the UK. So there is, as you can imagine, lots of fireworks going on, but I don't know whether they're just turning them up or they've stopped using fireworks. And like I said to Peter, they've started to use cruise missiles, but they are incredibly loud. So I'm sorry if there is any background noise coming from that. Sam Baxter, he's wishing for fireworks this evening, in the lead at the moment, and he's keeping that gap at around half a second.
Yep, he's certainly delivering the goods so far at the wheel of his 911 RSR. And Vincenzo Amico now looks to be pretty comfortable, I would say. He hasn't been sort of jinking back and forward. He's obviously thought, right, I'll just sit here for the opening stint and then figure it out from there. We expect them to pit. Well, they can usually see the drivers pitting anywhere between the half an hour mark and the 40-minute mark. They've got about enough fuel to run 40 minutes, but it can be split up into 3 stints of 30 minutes apiece. You can maybe just run a little bit less fuel in the car for those types of stints rather than doing a 40-40-20. So we'll see how these drivers decide to play it out. And it also, you don't see much of a difference in fuel consumption between the cars, but where Vincenzo Amico's been sitting, he's surely bound to be using a little bit less fuel than Baxter has.
Yeah, definitely. We saw it yesterday. The car behind in the draft, obviously not having to work as hard, not having to push through that wall of air, will be saving the fuel. Obviously, he will be using less fuel on the straights as well. And sometimes you can afford just to lift off into the corners because you'll be carrying that extra little bit of momentum. Still brake at your normal point, just lift off, so you can save a bit of fuel into the corners. It might not sound like much. It could just be like the smallest of amounts, but over a lap it can start to add up, and then over a race it can really start to add up. It might not add up to a lap here at Spa, but it could maybe take a couple of seconds off your pit stop, which we know strategy in this series has been where the race is won or lost, and at the moment it's being won by Sam Baxter. A bit of a sideways moment for Vincenzo Amico over the top of Radion, used a bit of the track limits on the exit, and you can see the BMW getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And Sam, what happened there? Whether that was a bit of a lockup or maybe just my iRacing messing around with the noises, but it sounded like Sam Baxter had a bit of a moment there going into Le Mans.
Yeah, maybe just went down the gearbox a little bit too quickly, possibly, but yeah, interesting that these guys, they've dropped Rob Tyson, the G-Drive driver, in 3rd place, and Ben Thanes looks to be recovering slightly and perhaps catching up with his teammate a little bit more. So That's curious to see, but normally at these stages we've kind of seen Vincenzo Amico run away with the races early on and sort of then just control it from there. But a very different situation today. To see this lovely looking Ferrari 488 of Sven Calbert being chased down by Ronald Moons, our race director at the virtual Belcar 24-hour last weekend. Jack, I have to say, after we were on air for 6 hours, I have to say I did go off for a little bit of a snooze after that, but very fun broadcast nonetheless.
Yeah, it is such a shame it's over. With me and Hassad just sort of glanced back at the 24 hours of Zolder yesterday, and it really was such an amazing event, and I'll do it again tomorrow. It was just I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to put it into words. It's the first sort of 24-hour I've done on comms, and it was brilliant. Just the team effort, and obviously everybody in chat, everybody behind the scenes. I can't thank anybody that was involved enough. Really, it really made an amazing event. You can hear a BMW rumbling behind the camera there. I think that might be Rob Tyson and Ben Thanes. Yeah, it was. You could hear them in the background there. That BMW really with such a unique noise. We were looking at Ronald Moons chasing down Sven Calbert. I think they've slowed each other down here because Anton Dupin is now out of that 1 second margin, almost out of the draft range as well, of course. And we know that Anton is very good when it gets to the complicated bits. He can just drive his own race and almost forget about his rear view mirrors and just slowly start to disappear into the distance. And I think that is going to be the play for him here this evening. Sam Baxter still in the lead though, half a second in front. Even in the draft, that time is going up by the looks of it.
Here, so I mean, yeah, Sam Baxter is effectively dragging Vincenzo Amico away from Rob Tyson here. So it's been the drive of the season so far, I would say. Sam Baxter for Fury Simsport, actually teammates with Matt Dorrington, who races in the Forster Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series, and also owns a company called MyDAS Simulations, sells all kinds of types of simulation rig equipment, including very fancy load cell pedals and hydraulic pedals and what have you, so you can get a really good feel of how the car reacts. I wonder if Sam Baxter's running any MyDAS simulation gear in his rig.
It wouldn't surprise me, going off the performance. We know that MyDAS produce some great stuff and retail some amazing stuff, and Sam Baxter is really living up to it at the moment. I know I've just treated myself to a 3D printer, so I'm expecting lots of just random bits. If I just find something, yeah, I can 3D print that. I break something, oh yeah, I'll 3D print that just because I can now. So lots of rig bits I think will be on the way as well. But Sam Baxter really starting to run away with this. 6/10 the gap between the pair of them, and Sam Baxter, we've seen him sort of there or thereabouts throughout the season. And another blink there, ladies and gentlemen. That is on my end. I am sorry, clearly my Wi-Fi hasn't quite fixed itself yet. I might have to go have a word with the Virgin engineer, which is undoubtedly at the bottom of my street. I might just have to go tell him what for and hand him over to you guys, because I'm sure you can deal with him better than I can. But Sam Baxter still in the lead, and the gap's coming out once again, 7/10 now. And as soon as he gets out of that 1.2 second margin, he's going to be out, or Vincenzo Amico is going to be out of the draft range as well. So that gap is just going to accelerate upwards.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if Sam Baxter's just laying down some real hot laps, or whether Vincenzo Amico is just taking it a little bit steady. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, the Vincenzo Amico's lap time is outright best lap time is ever so slightly better. They're very closely matched on the last lap, just a 10th in favour of Sam Baxter. So this is going to be a battle that rages on throughout the race. The only thing that maybe need to watch is if Sam Baxter lets Vincenzo Amico get track position, that's when I think he's got to worry, because with clean air, Vincenzo Amico has got serious pace, and I think that is the one thing that Sam Baxter will have to be aware of. He needs to try and get in front of him and stay in front of him and try and run the pace that Sam Baxter wants it to run.
Yeah, you can see the pace has clearly picked up in this battle as well. Ronald Moons up into 8th position, and Sven Calbert almost losing another place here. That's Matteo Sufi looking up the inside at the Brussels hairpin. Has he got the position made? There's no more overlap by the look of it, and there you go. So Sven Calbert only going backwards really from here. He lost one position on the Camel Straight, lost one at Brussels hairpin, and he's under pressure from the car behind. Has a little look on the entrance to Pouhon to get that position back, but sadly nothing comes of that for Matteo Sufi. or for Sven Kalber, pardon me, and Marius Janka hot on the heels of this battle as well. So it's really heating up in the mid-pack, and just behind is this battle here. This is Hendrik de Graeve in the lead, Flemish Simsports Ford, being hounded by Anthony Larsen's Ronin Simsport. BMW has a little look up the inside in towards the right-hander, then a quick flick to the left, and they remain as they were. But it's great to see all these little midfield battles sort of flourishing on their own.
Oh yeah, it's equally fierce all the way up and down the field. We've got the Inter Maranello battle here between Matteo Sufi and Sven Kalbert. And poor old Sven Kalbert, well, he's got to follow his fellow Ferrari teammate. Now, looking at a Ferrari from every angle is no hardship, but oh god. So you can see just to the left of the Pro sticker there, you can see the hideous Chad's Draycott Media sticker, which really does spoil one of the most pretty looking cars on sale.
Every week we have managed to, as I said, we've had an incident for Hendrik de Graeve. He's gone in, I think he was helped there, definitely helped by Anthony Larsen. We'll ride on board with Anthony to see what he saw, and just, I think he was not going to get, no, he definitely wasn't going to get that slowed down, went sideways into the chicane. That will be one for the race stewards to assess and see what happened. Hendrik de Graeve in the pit lane now, so making his first mandatory pit stop along with a lot of the other drivers. Sven Kalbert, Hendrik de Graeve, of course, Matthias Sufi, Steve Cooley and Taylor Lane have all been in the pit lane. So have Cammy Sturch and Bradley Brockies. So lots of cars deciding early on that this is the time to pit. The leader's still out sparring away. The gap has come down from 7/10 up towards 5/10, more like half a second now. So the pair of them getting closer. Fastest sector one overall for Vincenzo Amico. And I think we've got a battle going on again. This is Giuseppe Nazzo and Matthias Sufi sideways up a Rouge over Radion, and Giuseppe Nazzo up into 13th position. I want to have another look back at that.
Yeah, that was a big move there. Anything at Eau Rouge is always full commitment and more. Here goes Giuseppe Nazzo in the 911 RSR, side by side through Eau Rouge. They get through just about. And that was the move that Bradley Brockies tried and didn't manage to seal up. Giuseppe Nazzo does manage it, so great move there from the Italian in the number 4 Porsche.
Yeah, it really was a brilliant move. Riding on board here with Taylor Lane and fiercely forward, you can see the trio in front battling away. Sven Kalbert, Matthias Sufi and Giuseppe Nazzo. And Taylor Lane is really starting to gain on this battle ahead, obviously with everybody slowing each other down. You have the leader in the pit lane. I think that, yeah, Vincenzo Amico has taken the lead of the race as it stands. He will be in some clean air now, Peter, so he might be able to squeeze out a good little lap time here for his in lap, which might be just about what he needs to get the jump on Sam Baxter. We've also got Rob Tyson, Ben Thanes, Anton Dupin, Bram van Oudtsven, Ronald Moons and Marius Janka in the pit lane. What does Anthony Larsen do? Surely he peels into the pit lane this time by, gets the bus stop correct on lap 16. Slight tap of the wall and into the pit lane he comes. John McConville doing something of the same. Where is Stephen de Wolf? I think he is coming into the pit lane now as well. Sam Baxter leaving the pit lane, heading back out onto the road. We'll keep an eye on Vincenzo Amico just to see what happens. Another blink for me, ladies and gentlemen. I am sorry about that, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on Vincenzo Amico, keep an eye on Sam Baxter just to see whether anything has changed.
Yeah, Vincenzo Amico here coming down through the Jackie X curve down towards Pujon. He's a lap ahead of the number 12 machine. It's one of the Team E Brit cars. And oh, this isn't what Vincenzo Amico needs, just getting held up ever so slightly. And that's maybe could be the difference between him and Sam Baxter. Of course, he's decided to pit on a different lap here, his Vincenzo Amico. So we'll see when he comes in to take his pit stop where he comes out in terms of where he is with Sam Baxter.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Sorry about the blinks, ladies and gentlemen, in the background. I've done what I've can on my end to stop that from happening again. I hope that it starts to fix itself. I think there is some sort of maintenance work going on in the local area that has caused this. It came on all very suddenly. It's been perfect all day, perfect at the start of the stream, and then it all just hit me at once, and I couldn't really do much about it. Vincenzo Amico now peeling into the pit lane from the lead. There is Sam Baxter through Stavlo 1. using all the curb on the exit. Got to be careful not to get an off track there. Through Stablo 2 and heading towards Blanchemont. We'll see. I want to ride on board for this one, Peter, because we commonly sort of get this track related to Rouge and Radillon being full commitment, but Blanchemont, to me, you've got to be almost even more committed because the camber doesn't really work with you, and there's very, very little runoff. We know that there's been incidents, obviously, at both corners. A bit of a wiggle into the bus stop for Sam Baxter in his desperation to lose as little time as possible, but back to the original point, Peter, Blanchemont, it can be quite a tricky corner.
Indeed, yeah. My fellow sideburn enthusiast, Sir Jackie Stewart, he always said that everyone talks about Eau Rouge or Radillon, but really Blanchemont is the corner. As we see Vincenzo Amico coming out the pit lane, and Sam Baxter gets it done. He maintains his lead after the pit stops, and if anything, Jack, he's maybe pulled out, I don't know, 2 car legs possibly in the pits. He's pulled out a touch, and that could be just enough to break the draft at this point. And he's still on, his tyres are at full temperature.
Yeah, it was a brilliant stop from them both. However, it looks like Sam Baxter, the lead car, only spent half a second, or it was only half a second less in the pit box and 3/4 of a second less from pit entry to pit exit. So little by little, he's built this gap up now outside of 1 second. But then you see the gap rocket back down on corner entry and mid-corner. We'll keep an eye on the gap here on corner exit, and the gap slowly starts to increase again. We've got a battle in the background. Taylor Lane losing out here to Masaya Sufi, or is it the other way around? I think it's the other way around. Taylor Lane on the outside, then the inside, then the outside once again. He put up a fight, but nothing came of that. We've had an incident as well, Peter, for Anthony Larson. We'll have a look back at that in a minute, though, because look at this Taylor Lane once again throwing the car up the inside. Nothing comes of it, basically pushing him around the Brussels hairpin.
Yep, Taylor Lane once again being a pain for his competitors. I tell you what, he's done a great job of hiding that Challenge Draycott media sticker on Matteo Sufi's rear bumper. So thank you for that, Taylor. Much appreciated. And I tell you what, we know, well, he races for the right team, doesn't he, Jack? Fiercely forward. He's always on the move, is Taylor Lane. Never short of excitement when he's on track. Oh, no way. No way. He's going round the outside at the Fagnes chicane. Can he fit through? Matthias Sufi says, you must be joking.
Yes, still sparring away. Somehow they didn't make contact, and somehow they're still in the order that they started. Matteo Sufi leading, Taylor Lane leading, Marius Janka leading Sven Calbert at the tail end of this battle. We're right on board now with Taylor Lane heading up towards Blanchemont. You can see the superior straight line speed of that Porsche to the outside. There's grass there, mate, you won't get through. And then almost running wide through Blanchemont up towards the bus stop. What can Taylor Lane do on the brakes? He has a look, has a little more than a look, hard on the brakes. Is he going to get it slowed down? Grabs the apex, and there you go. Position made for Taylor Lane. In the background, Matthias Sufi, he's lost one position and he's under pressure from losing another here. Marius Janka in the number 88 Manatee machine, looking to the outside at La Source. He won't get it done there, but he will have the draft assistance through Eau Rouge Radillon and then on to the Camel Straight. So lots of overtaking opportunities in the first sector here at Spa, and I can't get over how committed Taylor Lane was to getting that position made.
Absolutely brilliant move, yeah. Late on the brakes, firm but fair. Didn't do it, no body contact, nothing like that. He made it through. An excellent job there from Taylor in the beautiful Bumblebee style, fiercely forward machine with our sponsor Porsche Sport on the front of the front bumper there. And on the rear wing as well. If you're a fan of the brand from Weissach, you can go on to PorscheSport.com. Whoa, big oversteer there from Taylor Lane. But yes, you can go on to PorscheSport.com, the leading independent Porsche news site for all things Porsche in racing. We also have the Porsche Sport podcast as well. It comes out every week. And without giving too many spoilers away, in a couple of days' time, we have a very, very special both audio and video episode coming out where myself and Kat MP, we interviewed 2 absolute Porsche racing legends. I shall not give it away, but do keep an eye out for that. You can subscribe via your chosen podcast provider. Also subscribe to the Porsche Sport YouTube channel and keep your eyes peeled. It will be out in a few days' time, and I have to say, if you have half as much fun as I had recording it, hopefully you will enjoy it too.
Yeah, I always try and give it a listen. Definitely worth just keeping up with Porsche motorsport from all around the world. Of course, with it being one of the heavy hitters in global motorsport, Taylor Lane showing that he's a heavy hitter behind the wheel as well. Now up into 8th position, the number 32 machine in that IVRA livery. I think they actually raced here at Spa not so long back, did that league, so Taylor possibly with a bit more experience than others around here. We've had a few off-track moments for some of the drivers. Stephen Wolf being the first. He went off the road for 1 second, then another second, and then 17 seconds. So quite a drastic input from him over the Les Combes chicane, over the grass again, and then hard into the wall. And I think this is where, yeah, he just stopped on the side of the road, and that's what left him there. He went off the track again. Is he still sat there? Yep. We'll go back live with him just to see how he's getting on. Let's hope he's got back running and back to the pit lane for Stephen de Wolf and out of the session. So Stephen de Wolf clearly not continuing on. The final runner at the moment is Dies van den Berg in the Dynamics racing car. And it's 2 Dynamics BMW. He's not really having a great night. Normally these two are quite heavy hitters, like I said, but for some reason they can't quite get the bit between their teeth this evening. And look who's strolling up behind them.
Indeed, yeah. This is where it gets interesting now for Sam Baxter, because he's been leading the race superbly up to now, with Vincenzo Amico in his case all the way through the race so far, nearly at half race distance. But now is where it gets interesting, because now he's got to contend with lap traffic, and that is a new challenge altogether. He's going to come across quite a few drivers now. Is Sam Baxter. And they're going to come pretty thick and fast for him. So this is where it's really important to get through that traffic cleanly and, more importantly, safely, to not lose what is a very good race lead at this stage.
Yeah, we know traffic can play a massive part in your battle, and even more so if the traffic is having a battle. Thankfully, the car ahead of Dies van den Berg is not battling with another car, and he's got about a 20-second gap up to Sandro Ballesteros in the E-Team Brit 4GT, chasing down his teammate from E-Team Brit, Bradley Brockies, in the sister 4GT. Then comes Giuseppe Nazzo, Kimber Haight and Stuart Musselwhite, all within, I think that's about 30 seconds of each other. Somebody who's within 3/10 of each other though, Matteo Sufi and Sven Kalbert, almost 2 cars become 1 as they cross the line. Now heading into the right-hand hairpin of La Source. Still Matteo Sufi stays in front, and with all this battling it means Taylor Lane has managed to extend his gap. But up the road, Ben Thanes and Anton Dupin battling away. Anton Dupin has a little look up the inside here, and we've got to remember Ben Thanes has a championship to think about as well. So although it will just be 1 position, but his teammate is up the road as well, his main rival. So it does mean if he loses a position, that lead gap to his teammate will only start diminishing.
Yeah, it's Ben Thanes. You can tell he's maybe just driving a little bit tight, possibly. It's completely understandable, like you said, Jack, with a championship to worry about, and now he's got Anton Dupin in the 4GT right behind in that beautiful 3.5 litre twin turbo V6 machine, which had a short but very successful career out on track, both in the World Endurance Championship at Le Mans and in IMSA in America as well, from 2016 to the end of last season. Unfortunately, we only saw 1 raced in private hands at Le Mans, and it ended up being disqualified because of a minimal fuel infringement after the race. And it's a shame we've not seen any of those cars taken on in private hands from now. But I believe they are rather pricey and complex to run.
Yeah, I can imagine, with it being, like you say, such a short-lived car, and having pretty much given the race engineers at Ford just go, there you go, build me a race car. I can imagine it, wasn't very cheap to run, wasn't very cheap to build, and for them to kick it out so early, either something was wrong with it, or they just couldn't quite afford to swallow the cost to keep it racing. Like I say, it would be nice to see it out in customer hands, but sadly nothing has come of that just as yet. The leaders are close together once again. Vincenzo Amico and Sam Baxter within 3/10 of each other. Through a Rouge over Radion, And still Sam Baxter, the lead car. Vincenzo Amico lost out a little bit there. I think he's starting to get worried about track limits, of course, with there being the 60 incident point limit. We've had some incidents up and down the order. Let's see what happens into Les Combes. Yeah, nothing comes of that, so we can grab a quick break to have a look at the incidents. The first being Sven Calbert. Sideways moment into Blanchemont. That's going to be a massive hit into the wall. Engine blown, of course. Let's see what's happened there. We'll get it slowed down. We'll ride on board. He pitches the car
He
into
got
the
put
left.
off by the sticker on Matteo Sufi's car.
Yeah, he pitched it into the left, threw it over to the right, and even with some steering input, there's no way he is slowing that down. Hard into the wall for Sven Calbert, and I'm assuming that is straight into the pit lane. It is indeed. We've also had an incident for Steve Cooley. What has happened here? This is into the bus stop. Is he going to get that slowed down? I think maybe he thought the same as me, going into the corner a bit hard, pushed the brake pedal a little bit harder just out of sympathy, and it over-rotated the rear end of the car, but gets back going without too many issues. And the leaders once again stuck together, 4 tenths apart, but the closest cars on circuit, Cammy Sturch and John McConville.
Yeah, Cammy Sturch in the Ford Zilla, number 11 Ford GT. It's, of course, regardless of balance performance, and she'll need only got one choice of car, really, the Ford GT. And she has a look up here at the Brussels hairpin. Big lunge here. Can she make it stick over towards the Jackie X left-hander? Oh, gets it through. Great stuff there from Cammy Sturch. She moves up into 13th position. And Jack, it's obviously something in the air right now. The Ford GT in both its old form and its current form doing quite well here.
Yeah, it really has started to get the bit between its teeth. The Ford becoming more and more competitive as the season wears on. We haven't seen Cammy's teammate out much. Go on, Peter.
I'm surprised you didn't take that one up, Jack. I was giving you an opportunity
I'm guessing I know what you're
to be able to
referring
bask in the glory of your achievements.
Yeah, I got to say, I was rather proud of that, but I'm quite sad now because I sadly cannot get to Laguna Seca for another round of the Simracersworld GT3 World League, also broadcast here on the Simracersworld TV channel, as I'm commentating on the Sunday Drivers Series. So as much as I'd love to be tearing around a classic American circuit in a classic American car, I have obviously commentary duties to adhere to, but yeah, I was looking forward to that, coming off a win at Daytona, as you do.
Absolutely. And now, Jack, who told you to drive that wonderful piece of Detroit muscle?
Well, it was multiple people that had influenced my decision. Obviously, Robert wanting me to change car, and then and throughout the season, you pestering me for driving the Mercedes, saying drive the Ford, drive the Ford, drive the Ford, drive the Ford. I would join a voice chat with Peter just to have a nice chat, and it was drive the Ford, drive the Ford, drive the Ford. So obviously, I had to give in and drive the Ford. Funnily enough, and
it worked.
Yeah, it really worked for me. First night in the car, and led from lights to flag, almost lights to flag. Led from about lap 3 to flag, and I think I might have sneaked fastest lap in there as well.
So there you go. So you go against the grain, Jack. That's it certainly worked. Now we're back at the front. We've got Sam Baxter. Well, tell you what, this is just a game of chess on tarmac here. Sam Baxter versus Vincenzo Amico, and the bit that we don't know for sure. We can surmise, but is Vincenzo Amico pushing, or is he just quietly sitting there taking his time? That's the bit that we can't really tell for sure. Jack, any view on what's playing out here between these two guys? Are they just sizing each other up?
I think that is the case. Yeah, they're just seeing who will be able to stretch their fuel tank the farthest. And at the moment, Vincenzo Amico, while he's saving fuel, I'm sure he's having to push a little bit, obviously, to keep up as well, because we know how quick Vincenzo is throughout the season. 4-time race winner. So he's definitely got the pace, and I'm sure for somebody just joining us, it looks like, why doesn't he just overtake him with him being 4-time race winner? But it looks like, just by the body language of the car, he is pushing that car quite hard just to keep up with Sam Baxter. So all the fuel he could potentially save, I think he might be using just keeping on pace with Sam. And it will come down, for me, to the final pit stop to see what happens there at about the 1 hour 10 mark, where the drivers show their hands and decide when they are going to pit. So that might be the first indication we'll have, Peter, to seeing who will come out on top. But then going into the final sort of 5 minutes, we'll really start to get to know this battle, whether it's Vincenzo Amico just holding back, or whether this is truly a battle with 2 drivers and 2 cars on the absolute edge of adhesion.
Yeah, that's the bit that's so they're certainly making it look easy, aren't they? They're not really putting they're not putting a wheel out of shape right now either. Sam Baxter or Vincenzo Amico. There's not been any big, loud, leery moments. It's just been very, very smooth, very, very calm, and well, often that is the best way. A car that looks slow, often on the stopwatch, it's not. But here comes another added element. As you can see up ahead, we've got a couple of the back markers to worry about. We've got one of the E-Team Brit Fords up there. I have to say, my favourite looking car in the field. I mean, I love the look of the Ford GT anyway, but this is a beautiful livery and some great sponsors as well. Kenwood Stereos. You get that is the type of stereo you want. That's the type of sponsor you want, Jack. A stereo sponsor.
Yeah, just so you can be tearing around the beautiful Spa circuit, then a beautiful Ford GT, well, listening to your tunes.
With some banging tunes in it.
Never say that again. Oh, God. I'm a teenager and even I can cringe at that. Sergio Ballesteros there letting the leaders by Sam Baxter. The first, still followed by Vincenzo Amico. The gap up to about 6.5 tenths now. In the background, Ronald Moons and Bram van Uytven battling away. So Porsche versus Porsche, and these two at a couple of circuits they have been battling away. I think Suzuka and possibly Mosport, we saw these two tearing around the circuits together, and Ronald Moons tends to be the chase car, but going into the final couple of stints, or the final stint so to speak, he tends to find a little bit more pace than the lead car. However, he does have that damage to think about as well. Whether he knows about it, I'm sure in the high downforce corners he feels the car maybe moving around a little bit more, might not have the turn in or the mid-corner response that it once started with. I can't remember seeing Ronald Moons in an incident, so whether he clipped the wall on pit entry or exit, or he's just hit a curb, or he might have even hit a car, but I don't remember seeing it.
No, I certainly normally we haven't really seen it yet. Of course, I remember back to Watkins Glen, where Ronald Moons kept getting. He was always on a charge. He had great pace, and he just kept getting caught in others incidents. But no such problem today for Ronald. He's in 7th place with Bram van Uytven up ahead, and lots of familiar names here from the Virtual Bell Car 24-hour Jack, and also Simracersworld's new NASCAR series as well. How was that?
Sadly, I wasn't commentating on that, but watching along, it was absolutely brilliant. Some great battles throughout. The team down under cars, they were looking for a podium lockout, P1, P2, and P3, and I think they ended up finishing P4, P5, P6. So they never managed to get their podium lockout. But I can guarantee, just going off round 1 at Michigan, it is going to be a season to watch. So keep an eye out for that, ladies and gentlemen. Covered by Hasoema and Ed May. It's just an absolutely brilliant series, and I 100% recommend you watch the next round. I think it might be at Texas. I can't remember. I haven't got the schedule up, but it is a brilliant series. And yeah, like you say, lots of drivers sort of just hovering around in the Simracersworld pool at the moment, with obviously the 24 hours of Zolder taking place a week ago, and that had a lot of the drivers out from the Simracersworld GT series, whether it be Pro or Evo, and like you say, the NASCAR series inheriting a few of the drivers from there as well. And I think having that experience in multiple series for a lot of these drivers just shows that their sportsmanship can excel.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, of course, NASCAR is a completely different discipline. It requires almost a kind of rip up the carpet and start again job. Really, it's such a different form of motorsport, and we see it where it's even really top road racing drivers will say no matter how much they want to, will not take on NASCAR ovals because it's so difficult. A lot of them have to go at the road course, of course. Oh, we've got one of the Ford 18 Brit cars off there. I'm not quite sure which one it was, but off there, and thankfully Ben Thane's able to get by, also Antti Dupan as well. But yes, let's see what happened. This is Bradley Brockes, the end of the Kemmel Straight going into Le Combe. Oh, just gets onto the grass, can't slow the car down. Oh, keep it there, Bradley. does a good job to minimise the damage. That could have been a lot worse. But yeah, the guys, I mean, obviously we saw Earl Bamber doing very well at the Daytona road course race this season, sorry. And Jordan Taylor, he was, he said, he'd love to do a lot more NASCAR road course races, but for ovals, he just says the technique, it would just take so long to learn.
Yeah, like you say, such a different discipline. I've done little bits on iRacing with some oval stuff, with varied success, of course. I took part in the Indy 500, and I've got to say, it was such a different aspect of racing. There's so much different modes you can change. Obviously, you can change engine modes in GTs, but obviously you don't have enforced caution, so you've got to make sure you get the engine mode down nice and low, save as much fuel as possible. Under almost every safety car, dive into the fuel to get an extra bit of fuel on board. Tyres every now and then when you feel the car starts to go. More importantly, the weight jacker on the IndyCar, of course, to almost promote understeer or promote oversteer when you're in the draft. There's so much you can change, so much to think about, so much to look for as well. And if you're quick in an oval, you tend to be quick on a road course as well, mainly because you've got that heightened sense of awareness around you, so you can almost see what's coming before it even happens. And sadly, Anton Dupin didn't see this coming. He's slowly starting to lose a bit of time to Ben Danes and the G-Drive car in front. Much like what has happened to Vincenzo Amico. He's lost touch with Sam Baxter. 1.1 seconds separating the pair of them now, and that's dangerously close to getting out of the draft range for Vincenzo. But it'll be music to the ears of Sam Baxter, much like that flat six engine screaming away behind him. But he knows that he has just got a couple more tenths to gain for him to be home and away in the fresh air, out of the draft range of Vincenzo Amico, meaning he can just disappear into the distance.
As easy as that, Jack. No problem at all. Yeah, they're right. They're running really strong here, the guys for Fury Simsport, with this car for Sam Baxter, and yeah, he's just about on that cusp now of breaking the toe, and Vincenzo Amico goes very wide there into the Fania chicane, and that gives Sam Baxter another couple of car lengths, and they'll be just coming up to the window. I mean, they could pit any time from now and get to the end of the race and have their pit stops completed. The difference is when do they decide to do that? They're both in clean air, so you wouldn't expect them to do it just yet. And also, the more laps you run into the stint, the lighter the fuel load becomes, so you can go that little bit quicker, and then you just need a bit of a splash to the end as well. So I wouldn't expect them to come in yet, Jack, but you never know. Who's got the ace up their sleeve here?
Yeah, I think if they came in now, it would almost be nicknamed the Ferrari strategy, and Vincenzo Amico evidently going for it. There you go, diving into the pit lane, Peter. Goes Vincenzo Amico. Does anybody follow him? No. The BMW of Rob Tyson drives by the pit entry. There is Ben Thanes. Does he drive by the pit entry as well? He does indeed. So Vincenzo Amico, clearly the one with the ace up his sleeve, Peter. I wasn't expecting that, but he's decided to come into the pits early, which means he will be on the longer final stint. He will have a shorter pit stop, obviously having to take less fuel. But it does mean that the car will go out heavier, and the tyres will be worked a lot harder through the final few minutes of the race. Ben Thanes still with Anton Dupin, 6.5 tenths back. Let's see how they take Rouge and Radion. All okay from the pair of them. Closest cars on the circuit, believe it or not, are right towards the tail end of the order is Dies van den Berg and Bradley Brockies.
Yep, they're still battling away like this is for the lead, and they're in 19th position, or Bradley Brockies is anyway, with Dies van den Berg and the big BMW just looming large over the back there. Indeed, now there's Vincenzo Amico. Now this was going to be my point, Jack, was this is a big risk for Vincenzo Amico to throw the dice. He's got to try something because he hasn't been able to make a move on Sam Baxter so far in this race, but this was a big risk because, and this is what's been proven, it's kind of spat him out into a bit, well, it will eventually cause him to come into a bit of traffic, which could be pivotal, whereas Sam Baxter was enjoying a nice clean air in front of him. So if Sam Baxter can really lay down the pace now with clean air on low fuel critically, that's where he's got to kind of think about. That's what this could be, the critical point in this race, one way or the other.
Absolutely. This is where the race is more or less won or lost. You can see Cammy Sturch on pit exit now as well. Sven Calbert in the pit lane. So lots of drivers opting for differing strategies. And we've said throughout the season, Peter, that that strategy tends to be what wins you the race, or indeed loses you the race. If you pick the correct time, you could be a couple of seconds in front. Pick the wrong time, and you could be a couple of seconds behind. And Vincenzo Amico clearly deciding that pitting on lap 26 was the time for him, and he's decided it is going to work into the final stages of the race. Sam Baxter crosses the line to continue on. So does Rob Tyson. Ben Danes and Anton Dupin, I think, might have had an issue. Tell us what you see, Peter.
Okay, let's have a look then. Anton Dupin coming down into the bus stop. Wait, hang on to it, hang on to it, hang on to it. Oh, styles it out. Beautiful style. And oh, just a tiny, I think there was a little tiny bit of contact there, but not enough to really make too much of a difference there from Ben Thanes. But that was well, if you're gonna make a mistake, at least style it out. That was very good.
Yeah, definitely not living up to steady Eddie Ansel. They're bouncing over the curbs. Up Eau Rouge, over Radion, using all the track on the exits as well, trying to make up for that mistake. Obviously so close to his second pit stop. He wants to make sure that he nails every lap from here and gets that gap down. Look how much he's gaining on Ben Thanes. I think he got the gap down to 3.5 tenths there. Jumps back up to half a second between the pair of them through the twiddly bits. Sam Bentham in the chat, one of the GT Pro drivers, saying that the Porsche is massively fast in a straight line. So it's possible that Vincenzo Amico is struggling to catch up on the straight, and obviously yesterday with his extended experience in the car, saying that he couldn't even get near Parkins in the early few laps. So Ryan Parkins, round 10 winner of the GT Pro Series, clearly had just a little something else, whether it be on strategy or just being the Porsche and getting the car warmed up. We've still got this battle going on. Ben Thanes 6 tenths to the good over Anton Dupin, and the closest cars on circuit are these two at the moment. The battle we were looking at earlier on between Thies van den Berg and Bradley Brockies has started to spread out, but they're almost identical battles, if I'm honest, because they've both got a BMW, they've both got a Ford, and they're both at a similar distance apart. This gap here, 8 tenths difference. Ben Thanes and Anton Dupin, 7 tenths difference. So it's it doesn't matter what end of the order. It clearly shows that you'll end up with somebody to battle.
Indeed, yeah. It's been a great series. Of course, we've got one round left at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time, and yeah, there's been a lot of battles going on up and down the field. Lots of personal bests to be chased down as well, and of course a lot of aspirants to get up to the GT Pro Series as well, and we're going to see a lot of people promoted to that particular series as well from this championship. And a lot of the guys, when you compare the lap times, they're right there on pace as well as Vincenzo Amico. Now here you go, this is not good news for Vincenzo Amico. He's got big traffic issues here. Will he be able to get through cleanly without too much of a fuss? He actually might even get a bit of a tow, but oh, he's been blocked badly now by Bradley Brockies. This is a disaster for Vincenzo Amico. He's weaving all over the shop, going through Eau Rouge. Is he going to get impatient? Oh, be careful! Be careful! Oh, my word. This is exactly what Vincenzo Amico did not need. And that's what I was talking about, Jack. That this could be the difference in winning and losing the race for Sam Baxter.
Yeah, it does look like this hasn't played in his favour at all. Lots and lots of tyre smoke, and that's why I think that is Sandro Ballesteros off the road. Let's see what happened. There's already a BMW off the road. We'll have to see who that is. That's Anton Dupin and Ben Thanes. And then another bit of another little incident there. What has happened here, Peter?
Well, let's have a look. We see Ben Thanes having a... Oh my word, Ben Thanes locks up going into Lake Combe, and it has just moved across. Anton Dupin is there. Watch this. As soon as Ben Thanes hits the brakes. Ready? Of course, no ABS in these cars, so if you lock up, round you go, and that's exactly what happened. And Ben tries to keep it out the side of Anton, and they both go around, and that is huge for the championship leader, Ben Thanes.
Yeah, not just huge for the championship leader, I think it's huge for the championship overall, and Sandro Ballesteros maybe not anticipating Anton Dupin to be on the apex by the time he gets there, and slightly touching the nose and ending up with himself in the Armco as well. But yeah, not just huge for the championship leader, huge for the championship overall, because Rob Tyson who is currently second in the championship, is second in the race. Ben Thanes, who is currently first in the championship, leading the way, fourth in the race, although it might end up being fifth with Vincenzo Amico obviously on a charge. There is Anton de Ban, third in the championship, fourth on the road into the pit lane for himself. There goes Vincenzo Amico, and he's only 3 seconds away from Ben Thanes with a pit stop in hand as well, even after getting held up a little bit by the battle in front. Well, Vincenzo Amico definitely on a charge. The last time by, he was definitely slowed down at 2:14.2 compared to Sam Baxter's 2:12.6. Not what he wanted. All his hard work has come undone.
Oh, that was a disaster for Vincenzo Amico, and he got blocked all the way down the straight towards Eau-Rouge and Radion, and yeah, like we saw, there you go, there's a difference. 2 seconds of lap time lost. Sam Baxter, I think he's done the right thing in hindsight, really, to stay out, use that clean air to his advantage, and as he comes through the Fania chicane, or Piff Path, as some people prefer to call it, I prefer Fania chicane, I think that's the correct term, I believe, and into Campus and Stavolo. Let's see when he's going to take his pit stop. He's bound to be getting towards the end of the fuel window now, maybe a lap, possibly 2, but after that Sam Baxter will have to come into the pits. But just up ahead, there is I think it's the Ronin Simsport Porsche of Giuseppe Naso. Yes, it is. So maybe Sam Baxter might just decide perfect time to drop into the pits and not have to worry too much about lap traffic.
That would definitely be the best play for Sam Baxter, of course, going through the bus stop now. And there you go. Prophecy comes true, Peter, into the pit lane. You can see there just the elevation difference between pit entry to what would in theory be pit exit if you're using the full length of the pit lane. Just looking over the pit entry wall, you can see the track below. On the other pitch straight there is Bram van Uitven and Taylor Lane battling away, but I want to keep an eye on Vincenzo Amico, already going through Blanchemont. Rob Tyson in the pit lane now as well. Vincenzo Amico heading towards the bus stop. Ben Thanes, I'm guessing, will peel into the pit lane as well. There he goes into the pit lane. Sam Baxter not even moving as of yet. Vincenzo Amico driving towards the line, Peter, and I think you can hear Sam Baxter revving the hell out of that flat 6 engine. What is going to happen here? Somehow Sam Baxter gets out in front, but he has compromised his line here, of course, coming out of the pit lane. Vincenzo Amico will carry the greater momentum up towards Eau-Rouge and Radion, but that gap stays at about a second, and 2 seconds were lost in that battle with the back markers. So I think that is what has cost Vincenzo Amico a possible race leading position.
I think it has, yeah. I think that's definitely been the case at this stage. It has really hurt Vincenzo Amico, and I think that he was taking a risk by going into the pits early and basically sacrificing. Of course, he didn't know what he would come out to, but he did have clean air, and he maybe could have used a bit more of it, possibly. But it's easy to say from us here in the commentary box. So now it's a straight fight, isn't it, Jack? Because they're on similar strategy. I mean, not much of a difference in terms of tyres or fuel or anything like that. They're more or less like for like. But now this is where we see we know the Porsche's now got a bit of a straight line speed advantage, as the BMW used to have it. The tables have turned completely. But we know Vincenzo Amico is seriously quick and makes very few mistakes. So let's see, can Sam Baxter hold on? He has been imperious today. He's been fantastic. But can he hold on for this first win?
Yeah, that is the question, of course. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen now the live gap from the leader, and the smallest one of them being obviously between Vincenzo Amico and Sam Baxter, 0.6 of a second as it stands, and the Porsche slowly starting to get reeled in by that BMW. Obviously within the draft assistance you can see that gap coming down. What happens when they head through Blanchemont? Keep an eye on that time, keep an eye on the delta, what happens between the pair of them. The gap slowly starts to extend once again and then come back once they straighten up hard on the brakes by the pair of them. Vincenzo Amico massively closing up within half a second now. This live delta, it really is just showing what this battle is developing into. Dropping back out again, you can see the acceleration of that Porsche is far superior, but then once again on the straight, the BMW's in the draft, and it's now floating within half a second. So in the space of a lap, Peter, it's gone from 1 second to half a second, which if it stays as it is, Vincenzo Amico is going to be in the lead in the next couple of laps with 20 minutes of the race to go.
Yeah, well, he's certainly got the pace to be right there on the gearbox of Sam Baxter, but he's got to make the move stick. And really, here at Spa, the one of the major overtaking opportunities is heading up here to the Le Combe chicane. And the fact of the matter is the BMW cannot live with the Porsche in the straight line like it used to. And that is enough for Sam Baxter to then defend. Then you've basically got not one line, but you've got a section here where it's very difficult to overtake or to get close enough to overtake, and Sam Baxter's able to defend through there. So really, for Vincenzo Amico he's getting very close now. Was that a bit of contact? Oh, it was certainly close anyway. But this is where Vincenzo Amico has got to try and spring a surprise, because really down the long straights he's losing too much time.
Yeah, it's going to have to be done in the twisty bits, but like I said earlier, Peter, the Porsche is quick where it needs to be. Coming out of the slow corners onto the long straight where the BMW will reap the rewards from the draft, the Porsche is much, much quicker on the loud pedal. Maybe just a slight improvement of throttle response, obviously with a bit of setup play as well. Sam Baxter has got all the work to do for Fiori Simsport. I don't want to look away from this battle, but I'm afraid we're going to have to. Kimber Haight, and this is Steve Cooley battling away. Kimber Haight jumping out to the right-hand side. And then towards the Le Combe chicane, still side by side. What will happen here? The Ford much stronger on the brakes and gets the car slowed down, gets it pitched in for Le Combe, and Steve Cooley down a position now, 11th and 12th respectively. Thies van den Berg battling with Giuseppe Nazzo through Blanchimont. They can't go too wide through there. Back up to the leaders though, Peter. 3/10 separating them. Look how close Vincenzo Amico has got this time by 3.5 tenths of a second. It's going to be 3 tenths by the time they cross the line. Vincenzo Amico making his intentions known here.
He really is, isn't he? Yeah, he's making no secret of his intention to make his way through. But Sam Baxter, what can you say about this man in the 97 Porsche, doing a great job? We cannot stress enough that Vincenzo Amico has won every race he's entered here in the Simracersworld Evo series. But not only that, he's won them at an absolute canter. And well, this is a bit of a turn up for the books, isn't it, Jack? He's done an amazing job all season, but Sam Baxter is holding him off right now, and having to go defensive now. And it's God almighty, that was close. And Vincenzo Amico trying to force. Can he make it past here? Baxter shuts the door, and they're playing for keeps now.
Yeah, very close stuff between the pair of them. They've got the championship to think about as well. Vincenzo Amico, a big hit of oversteer on the way in. I think he just locked a brake. We've seen the BMW full fail of locking brakes before, obviously in this race as well, with Ben Thanes and Anton Dupin coming together in towards Les Combe. And that little lock-up, it's cost him dearly. Half a second the gap between the pair of them once again. And Sam Baxter, he's going to have to make sure he keeps his head down here, keeps his head on first, I think, is going to be the key. Weaves the car in between the lines and just keeps posting these quick and consistent lap times. On the lap prior, Vincenzo Amico 2 tenths quicker. He's dropped back a little bit now, but Vincenzo Amico and Rob Tyson posting exactly the same lap times, both 2:13.40. So clearly Rob Tyson has got the pace to be up at the front. Anton Dupin with a 2:12.81, only 1.5 tenths off his fastest lap. So Anton Dupin desperately trying to work his way up towards the pointy end of the order. But this battle, Peter, Sam Baxter and Vincenzo Amico, is almost turning into one of the battles we saw at the Virtual Belcar E-Series 24 Hours of Zolder. Both cars running wide there. Sam Baxter, hopefully he didn't pick up a slowdown, maybe just a 1x, but it keeps on fluctuating from lap to lap. Both drivers going from strength to strength, and you can see where each car has got the slight edge over the other.
Yeah, they're definitely making their lap time up in different ways, but they're pretty evenly matched on the timesheets. They have been all day. Now look who is there in the background, Rob Tyson. Now it is about the length of the pit straight, but he's close enough that if these guys were to come together, Rob Tyson's not out of this motor race. It would require that, but he is there. So let's see how that one pans out. Anton Dupin is up to 4th. He's ahead of Ben Thanes after they're coming together. Now, here goes Vincenzo Amico. Has he got a good enough run to get the jump on the Porsche of Sam Baxter? He's right on the gearbox here. Is he going to be able to make a lunge up the inside? Sam Baxter's not going defensive. He obviously trusts the straight line pace of that Porsche, and Amico gives him a bump. Is he going to have another one? Yes, another bump there from Amico. Is he going to get round the outside? He does. Little bump and run there from Vincenzo Amico. Is Sam Baxter going to retaliate? He tries, he jinks to the left, he gets a little bit squirrely on the brakes. Vincenzo Amico goes wide, down towards the Jackie X left-hander here, and Amico gets it done. Wow! Whew. That was like touring car racing, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the only way you can really explain it. We've seen it throughout the season, little bits of contact, but that was proper touring car move. Few little touches through the corner, nothing major, nothing substantial at all. And I don't think that'll be anything for the race stewards to look into. Just a little bump, pushing wide, giving that extra tiny bit of momentum that the lead car doesn't need, doesn't want. And it opens the door for yourself. And Vincenzo Amico, textbook move up the inside. And I think that is something that can be applied just about to GT racing. I think GTs is where I can draw the line. Obviously, with them being very fragile, the aero playing a massive part. A little bump like that is probably, the most you can get away with. We've seen it in Mazdas. We've seen it, obviously, in the touring cars. We've seen it in GT4s. We've seen it pretty much everywhere. And some series it works, some series it doesn't. But today, it really has worked for Vincenzo Amico up into the lead. And can he make it 5 from 5?
Well, he's put himself in the right spot. We're just about 13 and a half minutes to go here in this race. Now, Sam Baxter, he's got to try and get a good... The main thing here is to get a good drive out of La Source. The next corner coming up, this very, very tight right-hander. The exit, he's got to use that Porsche acceleration and then build the run up, prepare the move all the way through Rouge and Radion, and then make the move at Les Combes. It's a very classic Spa manoeuvre, but it requires the forward planning. And I tell you what, Jack, Vincenzo Amico is getting an excellent exit out of the La Source hairpin, and that's just allowing him a little bit of defence. But here comes Baxter again. He's in the draft. He's got the superior straight line speed anyway. Can he get past Amico? Amico jinks one way. He gives him the room. He holds the inside line. I wonder if Baxter's going to get past him here on the straight. They go side by side into Les Combes. Baxter just about got it on the inside here. Will Amico cut back? He puts him on the grass. Oh my word, Amico has a huge moment. They nearly crash and down into Brussels hairpin, and Baxter is by once more. Brilliant stuff here in the Simracersworld GT Evo Series powered by Porsche Sport.
Wow, I have no idea how you managed to do that, Peter. I don't know how the drivers managed to do that. You can now breathe, Peter. That was all one long sentence for yourself, but with good reason. Sam Baxter and Vincenzo Amico locked door to door throughout that entire lap, and Sam Baxter, like you say, a great move, no contact required for him. Around the outside, the superior draft, and obviously the superior straight line speed. Vincenzo Amico running wide once again. It seems like he's used up his tyres and maybe just overheated his car a little bit by pushing so hard to keep up. 1.5 seconds back from Sam Baxter now is Vincenzo. So I think, yeah, he's just started to fall off the horse a little bit, fall off the pace. Definitely not what he wanted. And like you say, he was quick coming out of the La Source hairpin, but it just shows the Porsche is so much quicker coming out of the corners and then so much quicker when it gets spooled up and onto the straight, and that gap is coming out even further. We've had an incident for Ben Thanes, which explains the gap between himself and Anton Dupin. In towards No Name, a bit of a moment. We've seen this for him already. Does he avoid the wall? Does he not? He's straight sideways into the wall, slaps the car in and gets back going again. That's one of the E-Team Brit cars, I think. Oh, both cars trying to get out of the way. Who is that sideways in the middle of the road? I think that was possibly... who was that? It's not Bradley Brockies. I think it was Sandro Ballesteros going for a bit of a moment through there, but Ben Thanes getting away with that. Likely not much damage aboard his car, but that battle we were just looking at, Sam Baxter and Vincenzo Amico. Look at the gap now, Peter. It proves that lap was so key, not just for Sam Baxter and Vincenzo Amico, but it was so key for the championship as well, because it now means Vincenzo Amico won't grab full points, giving Rob Tyson, Anton Dupin and Ben Thanes a bit more breathing room at the top end of the order.
Certainly as it stands right now, but the thing has been just one very key mistake there from Vincenzo Amico at the Fagnes chicane, and that is just giving Sam Baxter that little bit of breathing room, and that is just a tiny error with relatively small consequences. That's the word I was looking for, and that is just such a small mistake. And after nearly 90 minutes of racing, 80 minutes so far, that is all that's been that separated these two men, which is quite extraordinary, really. We said it at the start of the show, Spa is the ultimate driving challenge, with maybe the slight exception of the Nürburgring Nordschleife, but really it is a properly challenging circuit. So to basically run mistake-free for this length of time is highly, highly commendable, and Sam Baxter has made no mistakes at all. Now, coming into these last 10 minutes on really worn tyres, 80-minute-old tyres, this is when Sam Baxter is really going to be put in the vice. And Vincenzo Amico, well, there is a pretty sizable gap between them now, but Sam Baxter has got to get through these next 10 minutes mistake-free, and this will be by far the toughest 10 minutes of the race for him.
Absolutely, he's got lots of work to do if he wants to get back up to the lead. 1.8 seconds worth of time to be gained just to get there. Then he's got to overtake, as is so often referred to in sim racing and just motorsport generally. Catching up is one thing and overtaking is well and truly another, even more so around this Spa circuit, and even more so with the variation between these two cars. We've still got cars battling away in the background, and we can't really go a stream without seeing Ronald Moons pick a fight with everybody on the grid, or that's what it seems like anyway. He's been fighting with Matthias Sufi, Marius Janka, Bram van Uitven, and he's now gone, all right, Taylor, let's be having you. And the Race Masters esports car chasing down the yellow and black fiercely forward machine. Behind these guys is Marius Janka and Matthias Sufi battling away, heading through Blanchemont, and I think that there's just been a change of position between this pair, John McConville, Cammy Sturch and Kim Behate. Yes, it was Cammy Sturch getting past John McConville. Let's have another look back at this, Peter. What happens here?
Okay, John McConville just making a... I wonder if maybe John McConville's serving a slowdown penalty, because he looked to be sort of just backing off there slightly, or maybe just made a mistake on the exit, but Cammy Sturch goes by nonetheless, and she is up to 13th place. And now what happens to John McConville now? Is it further insult to injury here? Another perhaps slowdown penalty there, or is maybe... I wonder... Maybe run out of fuel? Maybe it's strange. He's going quite... Well, he's up to pace again now in the draft there of Kim Behate in the Flemish Sim Sports car, the 4GT there. So, interesting one. But back at the front, Sam Baxter, he has 7.5 minutes between him and his first win in the series, and to dethrone a man which, to be honest, Jack, it was looking like Vincenzo Amico was. The word unbeatable is thrown about quite a lot, but that was, well, quite literally true. He had a 100% record, and Sam Baxter's been the man to dethrone him.
Yeah, definitely. I've got to say, we thought he was unbeatable. We knew Rob Tyson and Ben Thames were quick, obviously battling away at the very top end of the order. We thought, oh, God, you can't go much quicker than that. Vincenzo Amico rocked up and went, all right, yeah, you can. And definitely showed us how to do it. And Sam Baxter, bronze driver, goes deep into the bus stop. That will have cost him a little bit of time on the way in, even more so on the way out. He does have the help of that Porsche acceleration, but now Vincenzo Amico within a second, 7 tenths, separating them once again. And this is so key for the race and the championship. Less than 7 minutes of the race remaining now, Peter, and they're back glued together once again. But yeah, Sam Baxter, bronze driver at the front end of affairs, not with the fastest lap as of yet. That honour goes towards Rob Tyson by 100th of a second over Vincenzo Amico, but Sam Baxter has got it all to do once again. He built that gap up to 1.5 seconds. It's now down to half a second, 1 second loss with that small little mistake.
Yep, like we say, it's going to come down to the tiniest of errors, and look what we have here. Big lap traffic. Sven Kalbert has got huge damage on the front of his Ferrari. That's going to slow him down even more. So this is where Sam Baxter is really going to be put under pressure and under the cosh from Vincenzo Amico. Vincenzo Amico's had his problems with lap traffic. Absolutely nothing he could have done in that particular situation. The road was quite literally blocked, with two cars going side by side with him behind. So this is where Sam Baxter, if now is time to engage full Audi driver M6 motorway outside lane mode and flash the lights like there's no tomorrow to make the drivers behind fully aware that their leaders are coming through. Now, there is no mandate for the cars on the lap behind to move out the way. However, it is good manners to do so, and probably in the best interest of all concerned. So Sam Baxter, he hasn't resorted to it yet, but would be a good idea to get on those flashers right now. If there's any time that's appropriate, this would be it.
Absolutely. And I am hearing from Seb Herbera that Sam Baxter is in fact a silver driver. So sorry about that, Sam. We do credit you. You are evidently a silver driver with the performance here this evening. And Seb just reminded me of the fact that we had a Porsche win last night as well in the GT Pro Series. A very similar performance from Ryan Barkett. Oh no, this is getting very close between the Team Brit car. Oh, he's ran very deep, a massive lock-up, Peter, and that might throw away the win. It is going to be a slowdown. I've got experiences of slowdowns there, and it might cost him a fair bit, but it's so easy to get rid of them. But what's going to happen into La Source? He won't be able to get rid of it before he gets there, and Sam Baxter slows down a hell of a lot. Vincenzo Amico gifted the lead there, and I had to go and say it, didn't I? Sam Baxter demoted down into P2 with a massive gap, and with only 4 minutes of the race remaining, I see no way of him making up that time.
I do. I don't think we're done yet. This is we saw there the lap traffic played such a factor, and do you know what? It was the reason why I was shouting pick. It's not because I've still got a little bit of my steak from dinner stuck in my teeth. It's because, well, Sam Baxter did everything right there up until a point, because he used the E-Team Brit Ford as effectively like a basketball pick or a kind of blockade to try and basically box in Vincenzo Amico and allow Sam Baxter to get through, but he just missed his braking point, a little bit late on the brakes, and then pinched the lock-up, and that was the difference. And all at Fury Simsport, their heart will be sinking, and this man has done such a good job all day for an hour and 26 minutes of racing, and one tiny mistake has cost him so dearly, but it's not done yet, far from done yet. Let's see what he can do. If he can get back onto the case of Vincenzo Amico, we know that Porsche is an absolute missile in a straight line, so he's just got to try and get a couple of quick laps in, and you never know.
Yeah, sorry about the blinking there, everybody. Another little blink, and hopefully no buffering on your end. But yeah, he's got all the work to do. 1.5 seconds up to Vincenzo Amico. Sorry about even more blinking once again. Clearly the Wi-Fi has not fixed itself. I am using mobile data at the moment, which is probably where the issues are arising. So I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I am doing like pretty much everything I can to make sure I can get a stream out to you. Sadly not of the quality I would like it, but it is what we have had to do to get the stream out with the issues that have been presented. However, Sam Baxter...
Sorry, Jack. Sorry to cut across. Sorry, but my apologies. I think... it's going to be remarkably close whether we get another lap or not. I wonder if... I think they might just get one more lap after this. We will keep an eye on it. But I think that is where it's going to make the difference. If Sam Baxter can get another lap, that could be the difference between him winning this race or not. Because I think if he can get onto the case of Vincenzo Amico, he can use that straight line speed. See, look at that. Look at Vincenzo Amico in the BMW weaving back and forth down into Lecombe. And Baxter is closing him in, no doubt about it.
Yeah, the gap is really coming down now. Within a second once again is Sam Baxter, and obviously he's got the draft assistance, of course, coupled with the acceleration coming out of a corner with that Porsche, and then with the assisted straight line speed of the BMW in front, he might gain just enough. However, through the twiddly bits, he's lost a bit of time, a quarter of a second to be exact. 1.2 seconds back now is Sam Baxter, and like I say, it's going to be so close if they get another lap. Vincenzo Amico can't afford to take his foot off the pedal just to force the extra lap. A bit of jumping around there with the Porsche revs. Whether that's just my iRacing deciding to rev the cars around all over the shop again, I don't know, but it did sound slightly out of tone. Good. Yeah, I think that is possibly what it is. It could just be my connection evidently playing up a little bit more, so I am sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, and sorry for the earlier issues, of course. But Vincenzo Amico still in the lead. 1.4 seconds up the road is Sam Baxter heading through. Sorry, another blink there once again. There we go. I'll let you carry it to the end, Peter.
I think they're just going to get one more lap here. They are. So this has got to be... Oh, no, mistake there from Sam Baxter. Late on the brakes. Little pinch. and that could be critical. They go over the line once more, so the white flag is in the air. Last lap here at Spa Francorchamps, and well, Sam Baxter, this is going to be a big ask. He's a second slower than Vincenzo Amico that time around, and that was all in that final corner. And Jack, I think this might be done.
Yeah, I think it has been secured here for Vincenzo Amico, but anything can happen in this final lap. Obviously, Vincenzo pitting 4 laps earlier than Sam Baxter within the pit window, so he will have the lighter car, which I think is where the edge has come from. And obviously, the slight mistake there from Sam Baxter has extended the gap to 2.1 seconds for Vincenzo Amico. Still having a few connectivity issues on my end, ladies and gentlemen, so I am so sorry for that. I've done what I can, and let's hope that they never arise again. But somebody who is remaining on a rise is Vincenzo Amico. 4 from 4 so far. Can he make it 5 from 5? It would take a lot to stop him here on the final lap, but you never know. Spa can be quite a cruel mistress, and I think we all know the best of that, especially at this stage of the race as well. This would be the last time you would want any sort of accident. And running wide once again, Sam Baxter, so you can see he's definitely pushing the limits there, Peter, but Vincenzo Amico, he's driving towards the line with intent now, and he knows exactly what he needs to do, and I'll hand him over to you so you can carry him to the end.
Yeah, Vincenzo Amico just kept his mistakes to that bare minimum, and we said it is these guys have been so evenly matched for 90 minutes of racing around one of the world's toughest driving challenges, the Spa Francorchamps circuit. And well, Vincenzo's, he's made 2 tiny mistakes. Sam Baxter's made 1 pretty small mistake, and that's been the only difference really between these guys. Vincenzo Amico, we're used to seeing him win by multiple sectors, let alone tenths, and that's what it's going to be today. Vincenzo Amico wins at the final moment in the number 78 Ronin Simsport Academy machine for BMW, breaks the Porsche Weissach Hearts, and Sam Baxter rolls over the line in second. I'm sure he is absolutely devastated after that tiny mistake amongst the lap traffic. Rob Tyson comes in third. Good drive from him as well. We didn't see much about him on the stream, but he was quietly going about his business. Here comes Steady Eddie, Anton Dupin in the Ford GT. Good finish from him, another good haul of points, just what we're used to seeing from the Belgian. Over he comes, over the line, and we'll wait for Ben Thanes. Here he is, completing the top 5, and then we've got a trio of Porsches led by Taylor Lane, who is in 6th place right now, and he comes over the line. He's going to just edge out Ronald Moons, and that is a brilliant drive from Taylor Lane, Jack.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there from Taylor, celebrating as he crossed the line, and Ronald Moons, I think, celebrating a lot as well with damage aboard that Porsche, but he crosses the line after a very hard-fought P7. Bram van Uitven crosses the line in P8. Matteo Sufi crossing the line now in P9, still getting blinking even though the drivers have finished the race. So I am so sorry, everybody. I've done what I can, trying to minimise the issue. I think, is that Sam Baxter driving the car? No, it looks like Taylor Lane. Yes, so Taylor Lane, delighted with his performance this evening, evidently, throwing the car around in circles.
Fiercely round in circles.
Yeah, that is impressive. I know when I've tried to do donuts in the car, I can't manage to get the traction control to turn off, but he's clearly found the way, and that's definitely the way to do it. And Peter, I think we have some results now. We still have cars to cross the line. Tell about that. We have Cami Sturch coming through the bus stop now, on her way to the line, and John McConville following suit as well. Only one more car after John McConville. It's Kimber Hay. Still got quite the way to go. I think that's what, 20% of the circuit he's still got to cover.
Well, let's carry him home. I think he's either running very low on fuel, or he's just wanting his moment on Simracersworld TV, and why not? We'll give him it. This is certainly is a very much a favourite here in the commentary box. This livery, the Ford GT. I mean, you could paint it in all kinds of horrible colours, and it would still look beautiful. It's a lovely shape, classic shape, but looks beautiful in this lovely Flemish Sim Sports livery. And over the line comes Kim Behate in 15th place. And now, Jack, that should give us, and Taylor Lane still obliterating his Michelin tyres. Fantastic stuff. from the driver of the 32, and that drive has been coming all season long, hasn't it, Jack? That number, he's had so many good performances, but 6th place, brilliant stuff from Taylor.
Yeah, clearly doesn't want those tyres. So we do have some results to bring up on screen. Hopefully, if we press that, we will get them on screen. Evidently, there we go. Vincenzo Amico, ladies and gentlemen, your race winner of round 10 of the Simracersworld GT Evo Series powered by Porsche Sport here at Spa, wins by 3.2 seconds in the end, Peter. That gap massively came out between himself and Sam Baxter. I feel so sorry for him after what was the defensive drive of his life, losing the position for a lap and then getting it straight back under his belt once again. A couple of mistakes all grew together, and the Fiori Simsport drive across the line P2. Rob Tyson rounds out your podium and picks up a good haul of points. I think that has put himself tied with his G-Drive teammate Ben Thanes in the standings. Anton Dupin across the line in 4th. There is Ben Thanes rounding out the top 5. I think, yeah, he is tied with his teammate. Taylor Lane, what a drive, finishing P6 for Fiercely Forward. Ronald Moons P7, Bram van Ootven in P8, Matthias Sufi in 9th, Marius Janka rounds out your top 10, Hendrik de Graven 11th, Steve Cooley 12th, Cami Sturge, another great drive from herself to finish in 13th, John McConville 14th, Kimber Haight 15th, Stuart Musselwright rounds out your bronze class podium. I tell a lie, John McConville has rounded out your bronze class podium, Kimber Haight 15th, Stuart Musselwhite in 16th, Giuseppe Nazzo in 17th, Thies van den Berg in 18th. We should be able to go down another couple of rows. Bradley Brockies finishing in 19th, Sandro Ballesteros in 20th, and then I think we get to our retirements of Sven Calbert, Stephen de Wolf, Anthony Larson, and obviously Seb Herbert didn't take part in the race. He is just our race steward. But that was a very, very busy race for everybody involved, and I think we might have a few drivers ready for interviews.
We do indeed, yes. We've got, well, why don't we get Taylor Lane fresh from his smoky burnouts? Taylor, welcome to the Simracersworld commentary box. I have to say, don't worry about the result. Let's talk about the donuts. There are some good donuts out there.
Thank you. Yeah, it helps having the traction control toggle on your wheel.
That certainly does help, that's for sure. But let's talk about, we've seen you charge through the field so many times, but just making the odd mistakes. But tonight they were not in sight. In 6th place, brilliant finish. Tell us about your day.
Oh, thank you for the polite words. Well, it was a tough one. I spent the whole race. It wasn't me driving the car was driving me. That was very tough. The brakes, as soon as you get on the brakes, the car is just constantly moving in the braking zone, so it's very difficult to get it stopped and set up towards the apex of the turn. So I'm very happy with that result.
Well, that's it. You're in good company, Taylor, because a former Porsche legend, Wolf Hensler, always used to come into the garage and say his feedback was the car is snaky in the braking. So you can say you were driving like Wolf Hensler today.
That is exactly what I was feeling. It just every time you jump on the brakes, it's either locking them or the back end is just constantly moving. It's very odd.
Well, you certainly handled it very well indeed. And of course, you're driving for the Fiercely Forward team. What's the next big race on the horizon for you guys?
So we've got the round 2 of the IVRA Endurance Series this weekend. Free practice it's actually going on at the minute. We've got FP2 now, FP3 tomorrow, and then the race starts on Saturday.
Fantastic stuff. Well, we wish you all the very best with that. Good luck for the race on Saturday. Before we let you go, Taylor, who would you like to shout out to live here on Simracersworld TV?
All right, so I'd like to give a shout out to Gomez Sim Industries, our, I guess I'd say main sponsor at the minute. Porsche Sport, as you can see, it's smothered all over the car, doing great. And Opencast, as well as all the people behind the scenes at Fiercely Forward, and you guys and the organisers.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Taylor. And have to say, if you're a follower of the Porsche Sport podcast, you're in for a treat in the next couple of days. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. Maybe Luke will give you the spoiler. But well done on a great drive today, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
So next up, we have in the commentary box joining us, we have Cammy Sturts. Cammy, welcome to the Simracersworld commentary box.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Now, most importantly, do you wish anyone to have wet socks this time around?
I'll let them off. It's been a bad enough 2020.
That's true. 2020 is the definition. If it were a metaphor, it would be wet socks, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I won't say any more than that. I won't say what they're wet with.
Oh dear, oh dear. How was your day out in your Ford GT at Spa today?
Oh, it was a little bit of an uphill battle. Squeaky bum time in the last couple laps, but I managed to hold on.
That's certainly good. Now, Cammy, I was admiring some of your artwork the other day on social media. Now, tell us a little bit more about it and for our viewers as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I've caught you on the hoof there. Sorry.
You have. I've got to go into salesman mode. Yeah, I have an Etsy store where I sell graphic prints of Le Mans cars and Formula One cars, especially Formula One cars from the late 80s, early 90s, and they're on Etsy.
Okay, so type Chris. You don't need to go out for your Christmas shopping. Get on Cammy's Etsy store, and that's what all my friends, whether they like it or not, that's what they're getting for their Christmas. Fantastic stuff. Now, Cammy, before we let you go, who would you like to shout out to live here on Simracersworld TV?
Oh, I don't know. Has anyone given you a shout out yet?
No, but that would be very nice. Thank you.
I was going to say, I should probably say the Etsy is F1 Wall Art UK. So it's probably no good me saying Etsy and then not saying what it's called. But yeah, I'll give you the shout out, Peter. I love listening to your commentary, and you've got a buttery accent that just melts in my ears.
Oh, well, that's very kind indeed. Thank you very, very much. It's completely original. It's not put on at all. So that's very kind indeed. It's as smooth as you're driving, Cammy. Thanks so much for joining us, and good luck for the next round at Silverstone.
Thanks very much, Peter.
So next up, our final interview, we have Sam Baxter. Sam, if I could come and give you a hug, I would. You had that race absolutely sewn up, driving the race of the season, missed out just at the last minute. How are you feeling?
Quite frustrated, really. I feel like I just got cost by a back marker there. They just didn't back off in the braking zone, and I just went deep. And my tyres were already pretty gone, but that was basically the end of them. They never came back after that point. So I had nothing left to try and get back in the front.
It was certainly up to that point. It was absolutely superb. You were so consistent, and then even when Vincenzo got by, you pulled a great move at Les Combes. Tell us about how you set that up to get back ahead of Vincenzo.
I mean, the whole evening I was much quicker in a straight line than he was. It was the reason why he just wasn't coming past me. He was much quicker in the middle of the track, but that wasn't enough. So yeah, just coming down Upper Rouge, and I think he went a little bit wide and made a bit of a mistake, which just gave me a really big run all the way down to the end, and I managed to just hold it around the outside. But I knew I needed to make it work quickly because I felt like he was going to pull away if I didn't get back through. So.
Well, Sam, you can be incredibly proud of your performance today. You drove like a true champ, and you need to ask your teammate Matt Dorrington for a Midas Simulations keyring to cheer you up.
Yeah, I have to ask him about that.
Now, while we've got you here on Simracersworld TV, after an excellent podium finish, who would you like to shout out to on the broadcast?
Just the rest of the team, really, and Neil, who was racing last night. That's probably it.
Well, once again, brilliant drive, Sam, and you'll get him next time. Well, good luck at Silverstone, and hopefully we'll chat in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, hopefully. Cheers, guys.
So that was Sam Baxter joining us, and you got a feel for that young man. He drove his heart out, and just one tiny error cost him the victory here. That's about all we've got time for tonight on Simracersworld TV. Thank you for tuning in to this round of the GT Evo series. Don't forget to check out on Tuesday, we have the launch of the return of the Simracersworld TCR series with myself and Chaz Draycott on commentary. We'd love to have your company. You can get more information on that, www.simracersworld.com. Also, a huge thanks to Porsche Sport for their sponsorship of this event, and also do not forget to subscribe to the Porsche Sport podcast and not miss a very special episode coming out in the next few days. But without further ado, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Silverstone.